Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Majestic speaking with another episode of Mech Warrior Online here. And today we're playing with the Rifleman 3C. And as you can tell, based on the loadout, quad shotguns, 4 LB2s, and 2 ER small lasers. That's what we have to take to the battlefield. So we have a lot of range with the DAKKA, but then up close we can obviously amplify just a little bit more with those ER smalls. And right now we're just doing a little bit of scouting around the corner around the Citadel on River City. We are playing domination game mode, and we do have some friendlies that are in the circle along with us, but we're staying up behind the terrain just so that we don't get targeted too early here. And going for Hotel, who's across the way, as you can see, we do have a pretty decent cooldown on these LB2s and 500 rounds to go through with them, so definitely looking forward to constantly peppering our opponents from long range and just making them either move or back up or get out of the position that they're in, make them feel very, very uncomfortable. Now in front of us, we do have a Battlemaster and a Wolverine. Bravo is that Wolverine. They're both kind of getting a little too aggressive going through the park there, and we're just going to hold our ground. They are putting down some airstrikes on us. We did get cored up a lot, down to 76% because we took a majority of those salvos from the airstrike. But I'm not too worried at all. We do still have a lot of armor up front, only amber and yellow at this point. Very early on in the match still, though. We're about 3.5 minutes in and pretty much just amplifying any target that our friendlies pick. So this Battlemaster is very, very out of position right now. I can't see him lasting too much longer. We're going to whip around the corner, though, and go for this Marauder who's trying to get some shots down us. We're putting some constant DAKKA into this guy before he does retreat and try to hide behind a rock yet again. Now that Wolverine is providing a little bit of support for that Battlemaster, but I don't know how long these guys are going to last, especially in that very, very aggressive park position. I am getting pinged, though, so I do need to be careful up here. Don't want to take too much damage, especially because we aren't a frontline mech. We're a support mech built more around the second line, or the support line. So just peering over the top of this ramp here, we're going to focus up on this King Crab, who doesn't have himself completely covered behind that rock. And we do get some shots down on his components there. Looks like I am hitting his arm a little bit. And finally, he does back up completely behind the rock there. But now Juliet and Hotel are pretty much taking a very, very aggressive position, trying to at least sync up a little bit with that Battlemaster. And they're taking a very, very centrally located position on the map. Now we're going for this King Crab here. I knew he had a cord center torso, and we take him out. So he is out of the battle. That's 100 tons that they lost on their side. He completely exposed himself, and we took advantage of that very, very quickly. Quad LB2s to blame for that. Now we're going to focus up on this Bounty Hunter. Hotel, he's getting pinged from every direction, just completely overwhelmed with the amount of firepower that's going into his torsos. And there he goes. We actually got a double kill, but we're going to have to change targets really quickly, focusing up on Indigo, this Black Knight. And it looks like he is legged, so he's not going to be able to move very quickly, but we're just going to keep amplifying the damage on this guy, just going for that center torso. Looks like he's going to be going down very, very quickly. Now we are getting some fire from across the river here. Bravo is trying to put some shots into us. That Wolverine did retreat, and he's trying to get some shots into us, but we're just not letting it happen. It has a cord center torso at this point, so it probably will only take a few more shots to get this guy down if we can, but until then, we're going to have to keep our eyes on this position just to make sure that they aren't a thorn in our side. And I say they because he does have a friend with him. Now, I don't want to stay up here. I have a weak right torso, and this mech is known for losing components pretty easily if it's targeted. Looks like we did take one of them out, but now I'm pushing over the top right here on the platform towards Cap of this Phoenix Hawk, and he's just getting lit up, but he is accompanied by this Supernova, so we're going to have to be careful here. We're going to keep putting down some DAKKA, just amplifying any kind of damage that my friendlies are putting down, but I am surrounded. This Phoenix Hawk, the Supernova, and it looks like a Jager on the far side are all targeting me, so I'm just going to keep spinning, rotating my torsos, not letting them get some clear shots down on me, except for that Jager mech, but the Jager does go down. I am surrounded again by that Phoenix Hawk. He's just not going away, and he's going to take me out of the match. We did do 859 with 2 kills, 3 assists, but hopefully my team has enough in the tank to clean this round up. Golf is across the way. He's getting beat up. But now we did just take out a target that was behind the formation in Golf 6. It looked like a Wolfhound, if I had to guess, based off the profile. But now we have to focus up again on this Jaeger mech, and the entire team is focusing on this guy, and finally he goes down. Quad AC2 build there finally gets taken down, and the last guy, it looks like, is a disconnect in Delta 4, so that should end the round. I'm pretty sure we don't have any opponents left, and we do have the circle captured. No one is in the circle, obviously, and as you can see, that timer is going down, so 40 seconds on the clock unless this guy were to somehow reconnect, make it in there, and take out the rest of our team. But we do have quite a few mechs left, so our sacrifice wasn't in vain, and the team is able to rally, get the kills needed, and this is going to secure the victory for us. 20 seconds left on the clock, and for right now, we're going to stay in War Prince's cockpit in his Mad Cat Mark II variant. I kind of like that build, though. It looks like it might be a little hot, but definitely looks like it's fun nonetheless.
Especially on Loadout.
And yeah, here goes the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Game over, and that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. So a great round overall here on River City Domination game mode. But before we head into the Mech Lab and go through the stats of this mech, let's check out the final score for the round. 2 kills, 6 assists, 3 KMDDs, 859 damage, and 6 components destroyed. Great round overall, especially the entire team did pretty well. I think we had 1 disconnect, and they did take advantage of that, so that's where that 0 score came from. But pretty solid performance overall as a team, and that is really the name of the game here. Fantastic work, great victory there. But now let's head over to the Mech Lab and go through the rest of the stats of this mech and the build. Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Mech Lab, where we're going to go through the details for the build on the mech I have in front of me with the Rifleman 3C. Now, you already saw the custom loadout that I placed on this mech from the first round of gameplay, but now it's time to take a deeper dive and go through the logic, the reasoning, and the details behind the actual build itself. So we're going to go through the overview of this mech, then we're going to go through the custom loadout, the logic and reasoning behind why I placed the weapon loadout on this mech that it has, then go through the skill tree and go through, you know, the quirks and everything that buffs this mech up to the performance level that it currently has, the consumables, so on and so forth, go through the second round of gameplay, and then close with some final thoughts. So let's head right into the Mech Lab so we can go through the overview here. Now, the only other variant apart from the 3C that boasts 4 ballistic hardpoints on the Rifleman is the hero variant in the Legend Killer. And the primary difference between these two variants is that the Legend Killer focuses more on the LB10 cooldown. So it does have a quirk for the Inner Sphere LB10 cooldown of 10% on top of the generic ballistic cooldown of 10%, whereas the 3C variant only has that generic cooldown quirk of 10% for ballistics. Now, I wanted to focus on a mech that everyone could purchase with C-Bills, so you don't have to spend real money to purchase a Legend Killer to make this particular build and this particular variant become a part of your collection. So that's why I wanted to focus on the 3C versus, you know, the Legend Killer, because everyone can go and purchase this from the store with C-Bills and then actually configure it themselves without having to spend any kind of real money. So there's the laundry list of quirks that it does have, but let's first go through the custom loadout itself. So as you guys know, we have quad LB2s, 2 LB2s in each arm, and then 2 ER smalls as backups for close range combat in the right and left torso. I did place a targeting computer in there, and as you can see, we have 5.5 tons of ammo. Now, we did place an extra double heatsink in there just to make it even more heat efficient and to obviously conform to the 10 heatsink minimum that is required of any mech that actually hits the battlefield. You do need to have those 10 double heat sinks on there in order for it to even perform. Now, we did have to sacrifice a little bit, especially when it comes time for the light engine. So I could go with an XL engine, but if I lost a torso, and, you know, considering the Riflemen are considered, you know, kind of flimsy, especially on the front lines and everything, I didn't really want to risk it, so I wanted to go with the light engine. And even then, even if I got a torso blown off, I would still have, you know, the other half of my loadout still remaining. Now, as you can see, we have all 60 out of 60 tons filled out, 73 out of 78 slots, 384 out of 402 armor, and 149 is our heat management ratio, even with the bare minimum of 10 double heat sinks. 9 in the engine, 1 that we placed in the left torso. It has a 14.5 alpha, which sounds horrible. But as you can see, over time, the DPS stacks up, and the cooldown on these weapons, especially the LB2s, they have the quickest cooldown time of any ballistic weapon without the risk or chance of jamming. So using these LB2s and pretty much in big quantities, like 4, is considered a lot. So when you're pumping out that DPS over time, you can see how that damage score can definitely stack up. Now, one little modification that I had before, and I guess I configured it weird, is I had, you know, the targeting computer over here and the LB ammo in the center torso. So just going back to what it originally was. Now we have 65.3 as our speed. Again, a light 225 is what I placed in this so that we could fit, you know, not only some ammo, cater to the 4 ballistic hard points, have some backup weapons, have a targeting computer, and decent heat efficiency. But now, as we go through the skill tree, you'll understand why I did exactly that. So we sacrificed a lot of speed. We're moving at pretty much assault pace, really. And there are other assaults out there that are even going to move faster than us. But we're not a frontline mech by any means. We can definitely help support on the front lines, but this is not going to be your wrecking ball heavy hitter that you're going to see on the front lines, putting down and tanking most of the damage from any of your opponents that you encounter. Let's head over to the skill tree. You can see exactly what makes this mech tick, though. We have the entire right side, pretty much, of this tree filled out. And what I did was I went with range, cooldown, heat generation, magazine capacity bonuses, and LB spread reduction bonuses. So we have a 10% LB spread reduction. And again, we do have both magazine capacities filled out. So this mech is ready to go. Has a tremendous amount of not only sustainable DPS over time, but a lot of ammo to go along with it. So definitely something that I took into consideration. Survival, because we are going very slow, considering we are a heavy mech, I wanted to make sure this mech did have some skeletal density and some armor hardening to go along with it, in case we are, you know, getting a little bit more face time with our opponents than we would like. And that's the primary reason behind filling out even part of this survival tree, was to make sure that we do have that sustainability out there on the battlefield, that we do have that survivability out there on the battlefield. That is pretty critical, especially once you dip below pretty much 70 kph or so in a heavy mech. As for the mobility, as you can see, everything is filled out except for torso, you know, torso yaw, anchor turn, 1 node there, and then torso pitch. Then we do have, you know, speed tweak and everything like that. Again, we are running a light 225. We have the survivability tree filled almost completely. And we have, again, if we lose a torso, we are still in the fight with the other half. So definitely something I want you guys to keep that in mind, because that could come into play, especially if you guys decide to build this mech out for yourselves. Going over to the operations tree, we have everything filled out all the way down to cool run and heat containment, so forth. I know that these nodes are really only applicable towards the external heat sinks that are placed on the mech. But again, I did want to go for improved gyros, and you know, I could actually focus on making the mech even more efficient in some capacities, but I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to keep it as cool as possible, and the heat containment and even the gyros and everything like that. You know, I would pretty much be saving 3 nodes if I wanted to switch them elsewhere. If I were to switch them up, I'd probably either put it more into the survivability tree, or go something like 1, 2, 3, maybe pick up some more, what's it called, velocity nodes or something like that, if I so choose. I could even go range and heat generation if I wanted to. But I really just wanted to kind of stick with how it was and at least see how it performs. It was kind of, you know, I'm not going to say thrown together, because I did mess around with this build for a long time, and it just seems to work with this kind of configuration. Sensor tree, nothing in there, but then auxiliary, I have the extra consumable slot. So we have a cool shot 18 and an improved airstrike that are our 2 consumables that we're taking out there on the battlefield, just in case we seem to get hot. And when you're firing off 4 LB2s in conjunction with 2 ER small lasers constantly over time, you are eventually going to spike that heat if you get enough, you know, face time and, you know, ability to, you know, put down that kind of fire on your opponents if they are trying to get a lot of face time. So definitely take that cool shot. It does come in handy, especially with only 10 double heat sinks in total on this mech. The heat dissipation might not be completely there, and the sustainability for the heat might also not be there. So you might need a little boost with the Cool Shot 18, which I definitely want to use as backup just to keep this mech as cool and heat efficient as possible. And as I mentioned, the Advanced Airstrike as our second consumable. That's going to do it for the overview on this mech. It's time to hit the battlefield again with the Quad-Shotgun Rifleman 3C. Here we go, fellas. Alrighty guys, here we go. Second round of gameplay is going to take place on Grim Plexus, so a little more space to maneuver than the last round. A lot of wide open terrain, and we are playing domination game mode yet again. We are on the disadvantageous side, so we do have to be a little aggressive here. Hopefully we do group up in the Fox 7 quadrant there. We're going to peek over the hill. We do have a couple targets that are kind of scattering in front of us. Some long-range support going out with the ATMs there. And we're going to focus up on this Jenner. He's going to focus up on me, just get a little bit of splash damage down, but we're just going to keep focusing up on whatever crosses our path with these quad shotguns. Going to stick with our friend, the Timberwolf here, and hopefully get the advantageous spot here right behind the wall. And they do have a mech here right in front of us, so hopefully my team is able to help me out and take this guy down. Charlie is backing up, and we're going to stay behind the wall but still get some shots down into this guy. He is already down to 60% and falling, going for the back shots. He's getting some components taken off even, and we can get this guy down if we keep laying into him. And there he finally goes, so he goes down. Changing targets really quick, though, onto Bravo, this Phoenix Hawk, and he is absolutely surrounded by me and my entire team. Finally, my teammate is able to wrap that kill up. And now we're going to peer over the side of the hill here because this Stormcrow looks like he might be a little too aggressive for his own liking. And we're just going to lay into him. Yeah, there comes the long-range support. We're going to put some damage into him. He's trying to make a retreat, but I think he's going to... Yeah, he got caught on the rocks there, and he just completely cored up. Finally, he gets taken out again by one of my teammates. Peering up on top of the hill, though, they have some big boys up here where they have Indigo, that Cyclops, a Stalker behind him, and another heavy that went behind one of the pieces of natural terrain there. Now, we're going to focus up on Juliet, that Stalker, just to keep laying into him, make him back up. And right in front of us, this Jenner is very aggressive. He does put down an airstrike, so we're going to have to dodge out of the way somehow. But we do get hit. A little bit of damage there on the torsos. And again, that Stalker just keeps peeking. A very, very aggressive move on his part, trying to take down Alpha before he can retreat back to the rest of the team. And finally, my teammate is able to take him out. Focusing up on Kappa now, the Death Strike, Mad Cat 2 hero. And he's just getting completely torn apart by me and my entire team, who's focusing up on this guy. Toward up backside, and finally he does in fact get taken down. So that's another assault down in the books. But now we have to stay aggressive. We're going for this Ebonjag and that Summoner. That must have been the Summoner from before that went behind the natural terrain. So we're going to help out a little bit, turn back a little bit, and go for the Ebonjag and that Summoner. Hopefully take these two guys out. And that could pretty much cement this round. Yeah, there my teammate takes him out. Going for this Locust. And we're going for that leg, and he gets taken out, and I got the kill. So finally another Locust kill for us. Foxtrot, the Summoner, isn't even turning around to pay attention to us, and we are just lighting up his back, and we get yet another kill in the Quad-Shotgun Rifleman. We only have 5 rounds left before we are completely out of ammo, so we do have to use them sparingly. I'm going to go for this Commando, and it looks like I'm going to run out of ammo pretty quickly. I only have 3 rounds left at this point.
1 left.
And that Commando is the last target, so hopefully we're able to connect a little bit and use these ER smalls as backup. We do have a little bit of extra range, but my friend is able to take him out before we're even able to use these last few slugs. And that is going to do it for the round. Another victory here on Grim Plexus Domination. A fantastic showing by the team. Excellent communication, excellent teamwork. 3 kills, 7 assists, 853 damage with 8 components destroyed. Very, very consistent damage between the 2 rounds, and as you can see on the boards here, very, very consistent, methodical, organized kind of combat that we had there. We only lost 1 mech on the battlefield, and the rest is history. So a fantastic round of gameplay for the second round. But that's going to do it for this episode of Mech Warrior Online. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check out the links in the description. I'll have a link to my Twitch page in case you guys want to follow me live whenever I'm streaming, get notified, and tune in for all the community shenanigans that go on. I will also have a link to my Patreon and PayPal pages if you guys want to help out the channel a little bit in a financial capacity, as well as some other links and goodies down below as well. So thank you guys so much again for tuning in. I really do appreciate all the support. It's absolutely awesome to be creating all these new videos for you guys with all the new tech and just builds and stuff that you guys might want to experiment with. It's a lot of fun, and I'm having so much enjoyment and fulfillment out of doing this for you guys. So thank you guys so much again for tuning in and for all of your support in any capacity that you're providing it. And I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Take care, guys.